What is up, you strange little things? D. Williams here, Vivid House Studios. I recently took part in Illusion Design 20's edit race. You got together a bunch of artists. We all had the same stock assets to use to try and create a poster based on the Stranger Things theme, and this is my edit. So the first thing I did was draw my horizon and perspective lines using the line and polygon tool because I knew my perspective was going to be pretty tricky to work with. I then started cutting out my subjects and arranging my layers in the rough sort of composition I wanted, manipulating them by using the transform tool, particularly warp and distortion and obviously scale. So I started to cut out various parts of various images just to take little bits of them to help blend in the overall look, you know, some rubble here, some tree trunks there, and start blending in the layers a little bit better. As soon as we decided on Stranger Things for the theme for this race, I knew exactly the kind of image I wanted to create because I love the blue and red colour scheme that they use in the show in the Upside Down. So I started to add a hue and saturation adjustment layer, a day to night LUT, and a curves adjustment layer, which I then clipped to every group of layers so I could adjust them all individually, as obviously they've all got different contrasts and colours. Next up, I had to draw the tops of my trees because I didn't want to stretch the image too far up. So I selected colours from the original layer and created solid colour layers, and then started drawing in the trees manually with various brushes. And I also used some of my leaf brushes to create all the leaves to finish off the tops of the trees and just blended them in. It took a little bit of time doing this, but it was worth it. I think the end result looked really good. Right, next up was time to start tackling the most challenging part of the image, or most time consuming, which was to try and create our four main characters, which I wanted to roughly look like the four main boys from the show. So I just had to start cutting the layer into rough shapes of what they looked like. Even though they were going to be mostly in silhouettes, I gave them an overall kind of vibe. For Will, I wanted to give him a stripy t-shirt because, you know, Will loves a stripy t-shirt, doesn't he? So I did this creating a rectangular shape, duplicated it, changed the colour, duplicated it a bunch of times, merged them all together, and then used blend if to blend it in with the original kind of pattern on the shirt, cut out bits to make the sleeves, and then created some solid colour layers to start filling in the shape and the colours, general colours of each character. By the way, you may often see some solid bright background colours with a lot of my work on video as well. I do this just to keep an eye on whenever I'm doing masks or cutting out, to make sure there's no imperfections going on. I also couldn't have Lucas in this tiny little girly vest. I mean, I know he's a jock, but he's not that kind of jock, is he? So yeah, I just cut out some of the back to sort out his sleeves, make it look like more of a t-shirt. And just because there's always that one guy that zooms right in and goes, there's no spokes on the wheels, I used a solid colour to draw back in all the spokes on the bike's wheels manually. Not even that you can see them in the final edit, but you know, it's the details, man, it's the details, am I right? Anyway, with more solid colour layers, I started to create atmosphere, mist and highlights and shadows, just to blend in all my layers and get it all looking coherent. And what I do is I go to select color range, highlights for different layers, and then I can just paint in where the highlights naturally are on the layers, providing that they're in the right place, of course. I cut out part of the background city in one of the images to act as my Hawkins, and then pickwicked some of the colors from the sky so I could blend it into the background and give it some atmospheric depth. I duplicated my original kids layer, flipped it, filled it in black, made it a smart object, and then added blur to it and fade to create the shadows. Using a cloud brush and a black solid colour layer, I drew in the mind flare and then used blend if to put it behind the lightning. Now I was really looking forward to this next bit, adding the crack in the ground and that last pop of colour to the image. I used the road texture to act as the wall to the crack, then added a gradient to it, and I needed it to have lightness coming from deep within the hole and a darker rim around the edge. I then used the existing cracks in the road to trace with a solid colour and set it to screen to act as a nice glow coming out of the cracks. I then created a gradient, set it to hue and saturation, set it to radial, created a mask for it, then added the saturation layer to create my light beams. I used this woodland image to act as roots within my crack and just cut them all out and blended them in so it looked like they were inside it. Next up, I made my Hawkins signpost by using the bath and the post that were in the field, just sat there. They worked pretty nicely, to be honest. Added some more highlights, used the same method that I did for the boys' shadows. And then just used one last layer of this nice particle to act as the debris that floats around in the upside down. So because these were perfect circles, I changed them a bit with a blur to give them more of a floaty feel to them, and just applied some finishing touches. And that's a wrap, my friends. I hope you've enjoyed this edit. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to check out the full edit race by Hashir, where you can see all the artist's images come to life. Link in the description below. By all means, follow me on Instagram if you don't already. And cheers for tuning in. All right, peace out.